Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're exploring a seriously fascinating noun that bridges two completely different worlds. We're going to take a seemingly simple word and look at how we, as humans, use the physical world to understand complex, abstract data. We're talking moving from agriculture all the way to meteorology and economics. So if you've ever wondered how our brains naturally map physical shapes onto abstract math to make sense of information, well, you are in the perfect place.
To get us started, I want you to picture something in your mind. What does a pig greedily eating its dinner on a farm have in common with, say, plunging winter retail sales on a corporate graph? At first glance, absolutely nothing, right? I mean, one is physical, messy, and loud. The other is abstract, mathematical, entirely conceptual. But actually, there is a hidden structural link between the two. Believe it or not, the exact same word is used to name both of these things.
Section 1. Meet the word trough. Let's lock in that pronunciation.
So, our word today is trough. Now, English spelling can be a bit of a trickster, so let's lock in the pronunciation right out of the gate. Say it out loud with me. Trough. It's just one syllable, and it rhymes perfectly with the word off. So, trough. As a noun, the core meaning of trough describes a very specific shape. It is a long, low dip. Keep that mental image of a long, low dip right at the front of your mind because it's literally the master key that unlocks all the different ways we use this word.
Moving on to part 2, an archipelago of meanings, connecting the concrete to the abstract. I love this analogy. Think of the word trough as an archipelago. A chain of distinct islands of meaning. On the surface, these definitions might look completely separated by vast oceans of entirely different contexts. But if you look beneath the surface, they're all connected to the exact same foundational landmass. And in this case, that landmass, the thread tying all these definitions together, is that physical shape, a long, low dip.
Let's actually go island hopping across this archipelago, starting with the most concrete and moving to the abstract. Our first stop is the most literal island, a long, narrow open container for feeding animals. Think of the classic image here, pigs gathered at the trough. It's physical, right? You can touch it. But from there, the islands spread out. We move to geography in nature, where any long, narrow depression qualifies. Imagine a valley. Or picture a stormy sea, where a deep trough runs between two massive ocean waves. Next, we travel to meteorology. Weather forecasters actually use the word to describe a long band of low atmospheric pressure. And finally, we arrive at the most abstract island of all, mathematics and data, where a trough is the low point between peaks on a graph. Basically, wherever something dips low and runs long across our world, you've got a trough.
And this brilliantly illustrates that data definition we just arrived at. Just take a look at this bar chart tracking sales. We see a high in the fall up at 10, then a drastic plunge in the winter all the way down to 2, and then a recovery in the spring back up to 9. The shape drawn by the tops of these bars visually creates, you guessed it, a long, low dip. So we can accurately say, sales hit a trough in winter before climbing again in spring. It's pretty amazing. You're literally tracing the exact physical shape of a pig's feeding container right there in corporate data.
Part 3, word detective. Let's look at boundaries, opposites, and neighbors.
Often the absolute best way to deeply understand a concept is to figure out exactly what it isn't. We need to establish its absolute opposite. On a graph, or even on an ocean wave, a trough represents the lowest depression, so its complete opposite is the highest elevation. That means the direct opposite of a trough is a peak or a crest. When you're at the peak, you are at the very top. When you're in the trough, you have hit the absolute bottom of the dip. And to really round out our mental map here, let's look at the neighbors, words that live right next door to trough because they physically map to that same distinct, long, low channel shape. If you're describing a physical landscape or a carved object, you might also use words like channel, gully, or groove. They all evoke that exact same hollowed-out extended space, giving you a really rich vocabulary to describe exactly how the physical world dips and dives.
All right, part 4. Try it yourself. Time to apply the word. Now this is where I turn things over to you. I want us to transform this from a passive explainer into an active learning moment. Can you construct your own sentence using trough right now? Decide which island of meaning you want to visit today. Are you going to describe a flock of farm animals crowding around for a meal? Or maybe analyze a tricky business graph where numbers hit rock bottom? Remember, no matter how you use it, a trough is always a long, low dip, whether it's a feeding container, a stormy channel, or a data point. So the next time you face a low point in your own life, ask yourself, is this just the trough before the next peak? I'll leave you to ponder that, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.